Hi friends, Namaste, welcome to Book Talk. Let's talk about a model millionaire today. Now this model millionaire was written by Oscar Wilde, uh, who lived between 1854 to 1900, and of course we all know that he was an Irish poet and playwright and par excellence. So in this particular story, he talks about a millionaire which you won't find, a very rare kind of a millionaire. So the story goes in a very peculiar way. There is this guy by the name of Huey Erskine. Huey Erskine. Now he's a very handsome looking person who stays somewhere in London, and he's got excellent personality. He's got very pleasing manners. He's a very fascinating kind of a person, but he's not very good at earning money. So he somehow manages his life, and he's tried many things, but he has failed in as far as money making is concerned, and he is allowed just about some 200 bucks by one of his aunts and to survive. And as far as profession goes, he has tried to stock market, he has tried to become a tea merchant, he's tried to sell even sherry, dry sherry, but in all his ventures he has only failed. So one can say he's a perfect profile with no profession, and that's the kind of a person he is. And but he's a very popular guy, and he's very popular with boys, and he's also very popular with girls. He can carry himself very well, and but the pitiable thing is that he's not earning good money. And to make matters worse, under such situations, he's also in love with a girl whose name is Laura Mertens. Now she happens to be a daughter of a retired colonel, and this Huey keeps going to the colonel, and he expects that the colonel someday is going to ask him as to when they plan to get married. But the colonel is very clear. He tells this guy Huey that unless you have 10,000 pounds in your pocket, boss, I am not going to give my daughter to you. So whenever he says that, and he keeps repeating it to Huey, and the moment he hears that, he comes back to Laura Merton and cries on her shoulder that your father is not letting me marry you. So life is carrying on like that, and so one day this chap Huey is walking across to where these Mertens, rather his girlfriend, stays, and so he goes to, and very close to that there is an office of his very good friend. His name is Alan Trevor. Now he is basically an artist. He is a painter, and his painting is very good and it sells very well. And Huey is a good friend of his, and Alan likes him because of his nature, and over a period of time, Huey has become a very good friend of his. So as Huey enters Alan Trevor's office, he finds that Alan Trevor is very busy, and he is concentrating on a painting wherein an old haggard-looking beggar is standing and with a stick, and he's got his hat which is upside down, and he's posing in that form, and the hat signifies that he's asking for alms. So that's the way he's standing there, and he's standing there for a long time, and he's also very tired. And Alan Trevor is busy painting that guy. And suddenly, this guy, Yui, walks in and he disturbs Alan, and Alan tells him to keep quiet and have a cigarette. Incidentally, I find in most of these old novels, a lot of smoking was prevalent, and I always believe that the authors they give the true picture of the times. So one can say that in those centuries, smoking was very prevalent, and people are not very health conscious, I would say. Anyway, that apart, so UV gets in and he goes and sits in an Indian made divan, and he waits that Trevor will finish his painting, and then he will be getting some free time to chat around with him. But just then, there is that frame maker who frames these paintings comes in, and Alan is asked to go out by his servant. So he goes out to meet that chap, and just then this particular old man who is posing for that painter, he just sits down. He's very tired, and then he goes and lies down on a kind of a bed, makeshift bed which is there on the corner, and he's trying to rest. So this guy UV notices this person. He's old and he's very tired and he's resting, and he's a beggar, and suddenly he feels that these beggars also work so much along with these painters. But I guess Alan Trevor has a very different opinion about him. He feels that only he works, and at times UV tells him that apart from what you get, you should also pass on a percentage to these models that you hire, because they work so much, so very hard along with you. And UV one day was asking, asks this guy, Trevor, how much does your painting sell for? He says 2,000. So this guy says, UV says, is it 2,000 pounds? He says, no, it's guineas. So all these painters and artists, they are never paid in pounds, they are paid in guineas. So anyway, these conversations happen. Suddenly, UV feels very tempted to help this poor beggar, and he decides that before Alan walks in, I must help this guy. So he checks his pockets, where he finds a sovereign and some coppers there. So he pulls out one sovereign and goes across and slips it into the hands of this particular beggar. And then he comes back and sits and waits for Alan. And when Alan walks in, he gets up and he says, bye boss, I am going, I'll see you some other time. So he goes off, and after that he goes and tells this to his girlfriend, Laura Merton, and she starts scolding him that as it is you don't have money, and where was the need to go and give a sovereign to this beggar, and now you're going to face the music, you won't have any money to spend. Anyway, after hearing all this scolding, he again goes to a park where he finds Alan Trevor sitting and smoking, and then Alan Trevor tells him that do you know who this beggar is whom you met in my office? And while painting, I was telling him everything about you, that you are a person who doesn't work, who doesn't have any income, and that you are going around with this girl, and her name is Laura Merton, and her father is a retired colonel, but he has clearly told you that unless you give 10,000, you have 10,000 pounds in your pocket, he is not going to give his daughter to you, and you because of which you are very disturbed. So this beggar knows the entire thing about you. So Yui thinks, is very surprised, and he says that how come you've told all this to a beggar, and now the beggar knows about my personal things, and I'm extremely upset because of all this. And so I never expected this from you. As a good friend of mine, you've gone and opened all my secrets to this particular person. So Alan Trevor thinks for a little while, and he says, Boss, do you know who that person is? He is not a beggar. He is one of the richest guys of Europe. He can buy London just like that without an overdraft. He's got such a lot of money, and his name is Baron Hosberg, and he eats off golden dishes, and he's the guy who's very fond of me, and he's a very good friend of mine, and he buys my picture paintings, and he gives me good amounts for it, and he includes me in all his celebrations, and he comes and meets me often, and he's very fond of art and culture and all these things. So he's the guy who's come to know about you. UV thinks now that he's stuck to such a rich man. He has gone and given him a sovereign and has insulted him, and he's very clear now that he should go and apologize to that guy, or that guy is going to take some kind of a funny revenge out of him. So the story progresses like that, and it's very interesting. Now this guy UV is very upset, and he doesn't know what to do. So he leaves Alan Trevor, and he doesn't go to his girlfriend, and he comes home, and he goes off to sleep, and in the morning he's woken up by his man Friday, who comes and says that there is one person who has come and he wants to meet you, and he says that he has been sent by some Baron Hasberg, and Yui thinks that perhaps that guy has come to take an apology from him as to why he gave a sovereign to this particular person. So he tells this man Friday, okay, go and send him up. And so that man Friday goes, and he sends this particular person up to his room. Now when he comes, he says that he's a very aristocratic looking person, and Hasberg's servant is also so aristocratic. He's very puzzled that what has he done? He's created a big mistake by giving a sovereign to such a big guy. But anyhow, this person who represents Baron Hasberg is now in the room, and he says that, sir, I have the honor of speaking to you, and my master has sent me, and sir, he has given me this envelope for you. So this guy Yui is very puzzled, and he says, what is there in this envelope? He says, well, master, well, sir, I don't know, but you can open and see. So he opens that envelope, and he sees a wedding present inside that envelope, and it is addressed to Yui Erskine and Yui Erskine and Laura Mentor. Now these two are going to get married, so this gift is from that particular millionaire whose name is Baron Hosberg. Now after seeing this particular present, Yui is dazed, he's stunned, he doesn't know what to do, and he never expected that you can have this kind of a person also in the world, who instead of feeling insulted when he was given a sovereign, has come up to help him get married. And soon the marriage is solemnized, in which Alan Trevor is the best man, and Baron, and this guy Baron Hasberg makes a speech at the wedding breakfast. So friends, it's a very insignificant kind of a story, but it has a very big message, and normally any other person would really have reacted, any other millionaire would have reacted and thrown that sovereign at Yui, but this particular millionaire Baron Hosberg kept his cool. He did not make him feel small, and at the right time, he came across and gave him a gift of life. So, this is what life is all about, and Oscar Wilde has captured it very nicely. And I'm sure he must have thought about it, about this particular story. And so, the moral of the story is really, to me, it is that the higher you go in life, you need to be more and more humble, and you need to respect others' necessities in life. So, friends, if you like this particular story, kindly share it, subscribe our channel, and soon we'll be coming out with another title for you. Till then, goodbye from Book Talk.